Thank you for CII. It's been a long-standing plea from my side to organize such an event, particularly for commercial vehicle, which is very important in the scenario of very rapidly changing automotive environment in this country. So why C and why this session? I'll give a small kind of roundabout background about it, and then I'll meet the speakers of the day in this. So here we are going to see the experience in terms of design for the driver and the system around it. What does it mean? Automobile is an experience or a business between man and machine. Don't you think so? We are too much biased on the machine rather than the man. And when are we going to talk or consider and discuss and then help those ill-treated person who's driving a bus or a truck for a long time, very different terrain, leaving away his or her family for 1,000 kilometers continuously. The conditions they drive inside and outside the truck. Now you can ask me what is the problem. With a small example, in an automobile, correct me if I am wrong, are we not imitating or mimicking the technological trends which is created from the west and east and all directions? To prove my argument, I will ask you, we in this country are making scooters for 70 years. A simple question which is raised, how my mom is going to travel in the scooter with a saddle and a slippery upholstery. And do we have numbers of billion ejection from a scooter, particularly the women sari or chudidar wearing lure in the country? It grows every year. And when are we going to find a solution which is more comfortable and capable of handling a sari dwellers indeed? So when we are so surpassing the technological advancement, we are also using a particular point which is called the ecological need or personification or personal experience. Similarly, are we trying to mimic Scanias and Volvos and Labs and other stuffs instead of are we generating a work environment or sophistication from a suspension, from the drive, from the brakes, from the regulations, from the economical situations of the driver? And 20 years ago, a driver drives a vehicle which have electronic gadgets in front of him. What I mean to say is the dashboard or IP, we have speedo, tacho, fuel indicator and other stuff and switches to control. Today, he has a smartphone which is much more digitally capable than the gadgets in front of him in terms of switches or whatever. So in that context, what I mean to say is, the future is the personification, ecological shift to address the needs of the driver from that particular socio-economical, cultural backgrounds. And a foolproof digital enhancement in terms of inside and outside. And number 3, the regulations which is going to be more sensitive towards the empathic values of the driver. It can be a trailer, it can be a suspension, it can be a testing and validation, it can be anything. At the end of the day, the man in the driver's seat is the focus. Whether he is the fleet owner or a driver or a nokarafi or a servant or whatever, but the empathy is what very important and we emphasized in this session. With that note, we really had a wonderful chat before coming to this day. I mean, each one of us are familiar to each other. So we are touching each and every point. You are going to be excited and it's going to be a lot of mind-provoking session this time. So first of all, I welcome Mr. S Ramanathan, Managing Director, Automotive Test Systems. He is a multi-faceted personality. He's also, what I can understand is he's also involved in so many other activities in automobiles now. He is there in the automobile industry more than 30 years. He knows everyone from my company where I come from, Ashok, Leyland, so he's well everyone's name. That does, that shows how he is revolving around the subject. So over to him to have some things to talk about. Yes.
So we started this company in 2004, and we basically are a testing agency in India. We sell a lot of equipment. We set up laboratories. We also manufacture a lot of testing equipment. So basically, we come from test and validation of vehicles. We established multiple laboratories across in India to test typically from IC engine-based vehicles to different types of powertrains to modern systems like EVs and ADAS. We also have factories across in Chennai and in Germany to manufacture test systems. That's one of our core business. We also are involved in developing electric vehicles, mostly commercial, looking into goods carriers and passenger vehicles from the brand Hendrickson Motors. So today I'm going to talk about probably some of the tone that's been already set up and also on what exactly we do towards these areas. So starting with Hendrickson Motors, I think one of the first issues that we talked about was driver comfort. So we immediately thought about, we started developing vehicles which are three-wheelers, but we figured out that many three-wheelers that we saw in the market at this point in time had very less space for the driver. Basically, if you look at some of those goods carriers, there is hardly any space to sit for the driver. And when we talk about companies like Amazon and some others who use this to transport goods, we figured out that they also need helpers to take the goods out or to load them in. Yeah, so there was hardly any space for them. So we started designing vehicles looking into driver comfort, where the driver could sit comfortably, just not a handlebar, looking at a real steering wheel in a three-wheeler. And that was one part of aesthetics or comfort for the driver, that there is enough space for the driver and probably a couple of other people to sit inside in the vehicle comfortably. Then coming across in terms of design of the vehicle itself, we figured out that when you do a reversing, that you're not even able to see what's at the back or on the sides. So we started implementing cameras across on the vehicle, that at least it can help them to move their vehicle in the reverse direction as and when required when they take the goods out. And we also looked at the safety point of view, especially when you are loaded. In India, loaded means really overloaded. Yeah, we started from the design perspective that if we would like to do a certification of a vehicle, something like a 1.5 tonner, we already have a sort of a basic design up to 2.5, probably by design up to 5 tons, looking at the overload on one side. And when you do a cornering, looking at vehicle dynamics and handling, if you are doing this kind of an overload, there is a very high probability of the vehicles turning dirty. Yeah, especially on fast corners, looking at electric vehicles being used to carry goods in the mountains. Today they are very strict about how much pollution that you want, or that they would like to have electric vehicles carrying goods across in the mountains areas. So if you do cornering with a heavy payload, then there's a very heavy chance of the vehicle turning dirty. So these were some of the challenges that we talked about, and so we introduced twin wheel systems in the front. This is probably one of the very unique design in India. I don't think there is any other company which has started in this area of twin wheels. Similar to a car, that we have two wheels in the front, but then they are separated by a very small distance, giving the advantage of better steerability and better handling. So these are some of the areas that we started thinking about at Hendrickson Motors when we started this company, that we offer some unique solutions looking into comfort and safety. Of course, when we launched the prototypes across, we showed the concept across in the Auto Expo, it was very well received by the public. We got an excellent response. At the same time, got some excellent feedback. So we started looking at cost. Cost is very important in India. So when you look at a three-wheeler with 1.5 tonner or a 2.5 tonner, the market is looking at a certain cost, even with all these design specifications. So we started re-engineering the vehicle across. Customers wanted, if I offered a standard range of 120, people are asking for a standard range of 160 kilometers as a range, for example, for even intercity, intra-city, and probably with an extended range for intercity, something like 200, 250 kilometers as a range. So we started looking at these. So at this point of time, we are re-engineering the vehicle, looking at the optimum range for this. We also figured out that in order to have a good driver experience, instead of a standard 7 kilowatt nominal or a 10 kilowatt or 11 kilowatt peak motor in a small three-wheeler, we started looking at something like a 15 or a 20 kilowatt motor, offering a better experience in terms of driving, in terms of pickup with such a load. So we were able to reasonably get a good performance. Right now we're in the stage of doing a lot of RLDA activities, looking at the suspension, looking at enhancing the ride comfort for the drivers in this area. So though it's passenger as well as goods segment that we are targeting, we are very sensitive towards ride and handling. So a lot of effort is going towards in this area. Also to make sure that the vehicles are quite durable. I mean, ride and handling is done for both these applications, so we are quite doing that. And the last part is that, of course, most vehicles are coming up these days with features where you are able to transmit data across to a control center where you're able to monitor what exactly is happening. One advantage is that you are able to upgrade some firmwares, look at service as looking at service of the vehicle, looking at upgrading software into that. At the same time, we're also looking at in the software whether there is a crash has happened when the driver is driving it, or if there is an issue with the vehicle, we can monitor all the parameters across, right from speed to distance to position to all of that. So connected, not in the sense of a passenger car in which you have the entire vehicle fully connected to the environment like V2X or V2V, but in this sense, at least transmitting data across to a control center where we're able to monitor the parameters of the vehicle and also the driver parameters, looking at driver drowsiness, for example, and some of those parameters. I think a lot of speakers might have already talked about some of that stuff in the morning. Looking at cameras, looking at different stuff by the way that we look at how the driver fatigue. That's one part of my presentation. The second part, quickly going into from automotive test system perspective. We are a test laboratory, so we have laboratories across in India offering testing services. So this is an area where we start with software in the loop, hardware in the loop. So we do a lot of work on the simulation side, testing and validating products on the simulation side. Then of course on the component side, looking at the motor, battery. A lot of companies across India come across to us to do their motor battery testing, motor controller development, tuning of it, either on a motor test bed or on a chassis dyno test bed, or on the track. So we do a lot of structural testing. We see that in the EV ecosystem, there are a lot of startups who are able to probably develop a vehicle quickly or assemble a vehicle, let me put it in this way, assemble a vehicle, but probably need a lot of support on the structural side. So we offer that as well, and benchmarking, tuning. The company EMI, EMC have new aviation norms coming up. So all these activities on these areas of the entire vehicle development is what we support, including homologation. That's one part of the work that we do. Some pictures from our EV laboratory, looking at some motor test benches. Some of these are made in India concept, but with having similar quality as what you would get from Europe or US. Some test systems for battery testing. So we do a lot of tests for many OEMs across in India, also some startups. It's a new proving ground that we are going to establish in Telangana, looking at EV and ADAS to support the ecosystem here in India. So the third part of my the presentation is about ADAS, how can it be implemented in some of our vehicles that we are making. One part is that this commercial vehicle area is extremely cost sensitive, so putting in any kind of such kind of systems makes it really, really expensive on one side. On the other side, when I look at safety of the driver, of, if it's a passenger vehicle, of course, the safety of all the passengers, including the driver, that becomes very important. But we have been doing a lot of work in India, collecting data across. The very first challenge that we face across, before I come to this particular slide, is the way that we drive across. I think it was already mentioned about, people curse while they're always in stress, and they're aggressive while driving, overtaking. They want people to move, to go in quickly through the traffic because of infrastructure or other areas, because of some poor driving habits. We end up in situations where people get angry, and but at this time, with this commercial vehicle side, at least this point, we are still collecting data in India, and the very basic low-hanging fruits to avoid accidents, which I feel is looking at forward collision, which can give us a warning, and if the driver is drifting across, probably on the transverse side of things, looking at lane departure warnings. So they could be, these are low-hanging fruits, probably with a camera or a radar fusion, a sensor fusion, that we can start with these basic warning systems before we go into we talk about level 1, level 2, things where we start controlling the braking system or getting a brake assist or a steering assist going forward. But these were some of the stuff that we thought that putting a camera in at the rear for parking support, putting a camera in the front, giving them a warning at least in a way that they are able to be alert to the danger that is coming. There are research in the West that has been done that even with this warning, a very high percentage of accidents could be avoided. And these are something that we feel are the very basic stuff that we can implement in India. So probably there could be apps that could also talk about if the trucks are parked on the side, to give the others a warning that this is where it is parked. It helps in foggy conditions. We have a lot of accidents, people killed in Delhi, near Delhi, in the Yamuna Expressway. Because of that, these are areas that could come in. Probably the next steps could be adaptive cruise control, maybe platooning, maybe on luxury vans, or maybe talk about buses probably, or trucks. So platooning is something that can come up in trucks. Still a little bit far away in my opinion for India, but at least some warning systems could start across. This is what we think that could be implemented across in India. The point again, the challenge is that we have probably 150,000, maybe 200,000 different accident scenarios that needs to be simulated, tested, and probably we need to think about our way of driving and capturing these different scenarios, testing and validating our products to see that we can reduce the number of accidents and the number of people getting killed because of them. So this is what I just wanted to briefly touch upon in this presentation, just to give you an idea about what we are doing from ATS in these areas. We're collecting this data, we are trying to analyze these scenarios, converting them into the simulation environment, trying to support the industry in testing and validation. Thank you so much.
Thanks for giving an opportunity. Thanks to CII and thanks to Sathiyaseelan sir for this opportunity. And before we start, sir, how much time you are going to give us, sir? 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
How much time you are giving, sir?
15 minutes.
Great, thank you, sir. So now, how many of you know about additive manufacturing? Just raise your hand so that accordingly we can able to know. Great, thank you. How many of you know 3D printing? Oh, that's a quite interesting. So both are same. So additive manufacturing is the terminology we use for the technically, but common man's language is 3D printing. So today I am going to talk about the 3D printing, that is additive manufacturing technology for the commercial vehicle. So our company name is Primaeam Solutions Pvt Ltd. 3D printing means people used to think that it's only for the concept proving or a conceptualization. Whenever a 3D model or a new bus is going to come, people used to go to do the crafting of parts, and it takes 15-20 days time to get an approval from the management. So that's one of the component we can able to get the conceptualization. Then people started getting into the design validation. So that's one of a touch and feel concept. So it little bit migrated in the value chain. People went on to the design validation before they go for a permanent tooling kind of a thing. So this is one of the design concept proved by an OEM in the filament based technology. The third one is about the customization, what Sathiyaseelan sir was talking about. the feeling to the individual, how customization can happen. So today the industry is moving towards the mass customization. If I have a car with a gear knob with my name, I will feel proud and touch a kind of a thing instead of having a different brand name on a product. So that kind of a customization started coming into the ergonomics of the life, sir. So that's one of the area it's now going up. Tooling industry. So tooling is the biggest part of the life. If you want to change a components in the field area, people need to have a different special tools. For that, no need to depend on a heavy metal kind of an equipment, whereas we can go for customized composite tools where you can easily fit and remove your wheels, spare part kind of a thing. Now spare parts availability, old components more than 10-year-old, people need to search for your the spare parts requirement, but that has replaced, that is the obsolescence management is playing a major role in 3D printing, and it is having a digital inventory concept. No need to you depend on one supplier at one location. You give the digital file to the different part of the world who is making a 3D print where the spare parts can reach immediately. You can ask whether this metal is available. Yes, metal is available for both thermoplastics and metal. Benefits of 3D printing in an automotive, rapid prototyping and design iterations. Earlier single iteration, then validate and again change the validation, it takes 3 to 4 months time. But today's world, all your automotive launches are happening every 2 years, new models are coming, all because of your additive manufacturing gives a big benefit on the going for a rapid design, lower turnaround time, and thanks to Sathiyaseelan sir has given 15 minutes time, so we'll complete it. So turnaround time will make it as much possible, sir. Thank you. And mass customization already we touched up, and cost saving on the demand manufacturing on these spare parts requirements. Now our case studies on the 3D printing, certain are engineering case studies. This is not our case study, this is one of the well-known case study for the locomotive brake panel application. Earlier they used to wait for the casted component for 2 months and then they need to go for complete assembling of the locomotive brake panels. Now this is being done by the Waptec in a laser machine technology, laser bed powder fusion technology. 70% of the lead time reduction and 50% of the weight reduction, they can able to achieve this. We are not done. The most popular companies like Bugatti and your other companies have started using this for the race vehicle application where the titanium brake calipers at the center and cam covers are being 3D printed just for your functional application. These are for the aesthetical application for the two-wheeler industry. One of the examples where you need to give the ergonomics of the life, aesthetics of the point, we can able to 3D print, and it goes for the life functional requirements. It is on the vehicle. This is one of the engine airbox application where this is 3D printed in nylon 12 material where the temperature endurance was up to 140 degree temperature, and this is available in 3D printing. Some of the 3D printed components, generically I am talking about what and all we can able to do. Now it's our case study. So this is one of the exhaust recirculation valve for an off-highway vehicle engine manufacturer. He came to us for the development of the EGR valve with a different design. We have worked with them and we have given a design for additive manufacturing. We have changed some of the components. When they gave a component, it is for manufacturing being done for the conventional methodology. We have done some changes and there are integrated structures has been built in the integral part of the channel, cooling channel. We asked them to rework on the certain flowability, increase the efficiency part of it. So finally we made a component which goes within 48 hours of time, which saved 21 days of iteration work. So this is how the engine development we have done. So this we did it in stainless steel 316L material. The final part after post processing. This total in 21 days we did 3 iteration and they done 1 testing also. Second case study for the engine block with a cooling channel. Conventionally, if you want to give a cooling channel, it's only a jet cooling channel which will not go towards the profile of the component. Initially we received this kind of profile and inside you will have a conformal cooling with this kind of jackets. Then we had a discussion with customer, if you want to increase the cooling effectiveness of this thing, you want to change this. So we had a iteration 1, iteration 2, then the final iteration we did this kind of thing, the efficiency of the thermal dissipation has increased. So this is one of the design for additive manufacturing where we are efficient in giving a cost effective solution with a time bound method. So this is the part we printed in 21 hours time, now it is going for testing. This is printed in aluminum ALSI 10mg. This is our final product. Then where it has happened, yes, all these components of last 2 case studies happened at our facility. We are a part of a Sunfab group company which is into a sheet metal fabrication for last 4 decades, where Mr. Karthik is here, he is the managing director of the company. Now we started in 2019, but actually our production started in 2020. You come up with your idea, design, and we will build in our facility and we'll give you your true parts for your validation. So we work for healthcare, aerospace and engineering division. We are the first company in 3D printing industry having the aerospace certification as well as on the healthcare ISO 13485. Totally 6 technology available in India, in Chennai. It's right next to just 30 minutes drive from here. 2 in metal, 4 in thermoplastics. Some or other way we are having these machines first in India or new to India. This machine exclusively we work for titanium components for the healthcare business. Some skulls out of subject from this content. So we work with all the cancer patients on the implants replacement of your bone, critical application. We have done around 180 implants and all the patients are living happily. These are our case studies. Then this is a SLM machine where you can run aluminum, stainless steel, tool steel, internal components. Then nylon material, we have multi-jet fusion technology for all your interior components. These are some of the components what we have given to Ministry of Defence, which is now used for the surveillance purpose. We have done around 65 drone components, which is flying in a high altitude and the low temperature requirements. Some engineering compounds. Thermoplastics, we do the high performance thermoplastic, which is requirement of the heat resistant, chemical resistant requirement for your all the critical applications. Resin based printers. Composites, where you need to have a replacement of jigs and fixtures or aluminum component. We have a nylon with glass fiber or nylon with a carbon fiber, nylon with a aramid parts, where you can use it for automotive application. Your battery enclosure, where you need a fire retardant material, can be 3D printed for your application. Just a quick 2 minutes video. This is our facility in Chennai, Ambattur. Yeah, this is a complete building now, sir. This is the basement of 10,000 square feet. But soon we will be having this, sir. So this facility only we are certified with the AS 9100 as well as ISO 13485. Now we are going for the polypropylene material. Soon we will be adding a capability in a month's time. Now we have a design office at the center. This is a 1-year-old video. All your thermoplastics, high performance engineering grade thermoplastics and the resin based material. Composite is inside this room, but then it was not there. And this one is the titanium printing for the aerospace engine application as well as for the healthcare implants, human implants. So also we have an innovation and incubation center for the healthcare profession to come and talk about their ideas to go to the human implants or medical device companies. So finally, we as a company, we work with all the engineering application, whether it is automotive industry or off-highway industry or a chemical industry. We work with them on the generative design, converting from the conventional manufactured components to the design components, where you need to consolidate 100 of parts to 10 parts, or you want to increase the efficiency, we can able to give you the topology optimization. Since we are into the customer experience center, we have multiple material and process at one center, we can able to suggest you on the additive process, and we work on the functional components only. Prototypes we do as a supporting projects, and this is basically for the low and batch production requirements. Thank you all. Thank you.
Franklin, you struck your visuals on us. Thank you so much.
Good evening to one and all present over here. First of all, we would like to apologize on behalf of Ethan Ramanathan, since he was not able to attend this function because of his family urgencies. And here today I am just going to represent about Edscha Trailer System, a European company. It is one strong brand and internationally leading supplier for equipments of trailers, and we have a European market leader and 65% globally in the making of sliding roofs. Edscha is a one name since 1969 for sliding roofs for trucks and trailers. It's not only a market leader, also an inventor of sliding roofs for trucks and trailers, and leader in the technologies. Decades of engineering, continual optimization, permanent quality assurance, and expert customer service. Whatever is the product, curtain slider, barrier roofs, or full tarpaulin, sliding bow, we give the best performance ratio for all kinds of cargo carriers with tarpaulin covers. We Edscha Trailer System, our head office is in Mars, Germany, and we have our factory in Czech Republic, Kamenets. In India, we are present at Chennai, just a half an hour from here, Kundamani. Edscha offers to India. As the name says, Edscha Barrier System for India. This is specially designed for Indian vehicles and as per the Indian roads. The first one we would like to say is the Edscha full tarpaulin roof system. This roof system is highly flexible, maximum cargo volume combined with optimized protection for a cargo, fastest loading and unloading, one-man operation, and particularly easy loading and unloading with a crane. This system can be available with fixed columns as well as sliding pillars. This is curtain sider. Both full tarpaulin and curtain sider is more or less same. The difference is in full tarpaulin, the sliding can be done. If the sliding is done, all three sides will be open at once. But in curtain slider, each side can be operated separately. The other one is Edscha sliding bow system. This is something like this product is majorly used for steel roll carriers, where they can have when it is fully collapsible, the customer can have a full open 100% open system for loading and unloading. As you can see in the pictures, when this is collapsed on the rear side, and if you want to load the materials on the rear side, the whole system can be brought to the front. So this gives an 100% protection, and also it comes with steel regular tubes with rigid and gives durability to the product. This can be operated on both the sides and adjustable and customized according to the vehicle dimensions. Edscha's open box roof system. This is more or less same to the Vario full tarpaulin or curtain sider. So if customer wants only the to load the material from the top then we can use this open box roof systems, and this has even an axial movement of up to plus or minus 30 mm, which if there is any bulge in the side walls or then this roof system can automatically adjust and it can work on its own. This is a manual one and can be operated from the ground. The next one is tipper roof. Tipper roof is one which works on automatic. It works with an electrical drive. The driver can access this tipper roof sitting inside his cabin itself while loading as well as unloading. When unloading, it is not necessary that the roof should be open. They can just tip the trailer and it can be unloaded the material. Some, as you say, like the advantage of Edscha roof system. Why Edscha? If you just consider and see the tabular column, right? The first one is the container truck, which has the Jeep has 12 ton. The trailer body in the sense the steel body container, which weighs almost around 3.4 tons. This example I am just taking for a 40 feet trailer and 40 GVW, and the customer can take the payload of 24.6 tons. When it is compared to the side body, that is a normal open body, the trailer body weighs around 1.8 tons and the customer can take an extra of 1.6 ton compared to the container body. If you use this Edscha trailer systems, based upon the different sliding bow or curtain sider or full tarpaulin, the customer can easily have an extra payload of 2.61 to 2.69 tons. These are all the examples, and that's why we just provide this Edscha trailer. Assembly and fitments procedures. The main benefit of a system is integration of system can be done to new vehicle as well as an existing vehicle, old existing vehicle. The entire product will be given as a kit to the customers. Initial stage, Edscha will give us support for training and for installation as well as guidance will be provided. Later on, that it can be done by their own with the help of bodybuilders, or if they have their own workshops, so many people can install on their own. Edscha will give any kind of support at any time of any given point of time. Based on the vehicle dimensions, chassis drawings, we can give you the right product. Here is a small demonstration video of our product. It's just a 3 minutes video. As you can see, the man who is operating the vehicle is a 56-year-old guy. He can able to singly operate the vehicle on his own. So that it is how that much flexible to the customers. Thank you.
Thank you, Durga. It's really amazing. It's a very less effort one. I think probably is one of the senior person working with you guys, right?
Yes.
Don't tell me he's your MD. So, yeah, so with less effort, one can, that's what the user experience and foolproof. Probably I have a suggestion as a designer. I was watching when he's removed those panels, right? So keeping it on the floor or road or whatever. So not necessary that every road is clean like that. The working environment is there. Probably you may have to have shells to thrust it under the body or whatever.
Sure.
Create something small, clamps or something. Probably that's my suggestion. Thank you so much. It's very needy and ecologically very relevant to the subject. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And also you finished in time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And thanks for the suggestion.
So the next is going to be very interesting. One of the friends, Tata Auto Components or Hendrickson, right? So the suspension is a subject which is being discussed a long time, and I have my doubts. These suspension are tested, validated for Indian conditions. Looking forward to listen to you. This is Sanjeev Annigeri. Annagaru?
Yeah, Annigeri. Yeah, thank you.
15 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes, our session chairman is very strict on time, so let me try my best. Okay, so good evening and welcome. So he started with a word called empathy. So while we are on that particular word, how many of you have interacted with drivers? Any hands going up? Very nice. You interacted with drivers. Very good. So how many of you have interacted with dealer mechanics? Great. Thank you. So how many of you have visited mining areas? Very good. So the word which talked by our session chairman, empathy, is connect with how we are empathetic to our customers and the users, because we are the tier 1 suppliers, we supply to OEM. But ultimately what is important to the users are mechanics, drivers, fleet owners, fleet managers. So how we are interacting and how we are understanding their needs and requirements. So I'll be taking through one case study to give some direction to that subject. So okay, so these are the 5 topics which I will be speaking. So I will be talking on the tipper as an application, different applications of tippers, customer expectations, preferences, feedback, and a brief case study on development of a new technology solution and a summary. Going to the this particular slide, which talks about the graph talks about the trend, how it has evolved, different commercial vehicles like tractor trailers, how it has evolved or how it has progressed in the last so many years, and what is the possible projections. Similarly, haulage truck and tippers. So the message coming here is tractor trailer, most likely it is not going to progress to that extent. It is all projections. and tippers will continue to grow at a faster pace because the infrastructure is, the investment in the infrastructure is going to continue to increase. Now, the right side graph is talking about how the evolution of tippers have taken place. So, 2-axle, from 2-axle, we went to 3-axle, 4-axle, and now we are into 5-axle tippers, right? So, this is some, indication towards the movement of the tipper market. Now I will give some emphasis on the how is the usage of tippers in the different applications. So like road application. So currently we have studied for last 2 to 3 years. The data shows most of the tippers are used in the road application, construction, road, infrastructure, all those applications. So it is almost to the tune of 55 to 60% of, let us say, if 10,000 tippers are sold in 1 year, so almost around 5 to 6,000 tippers will be used in the road application, infrastructure development, etc. So what are the messages or customer expectations there, or what type of message is coming in that application? The operating conditions of that particular road is reasonably better. The operation will be almost 24 hours in most of the segments, and it is going to operate at a higher speed. And the expectations from the drivers in the last 2 years is they want the comfort should be better. So these are the some messages from this particular application. The next application, if you can see the pictures, these are all stone mine applications. So this is becoming increasingly positive growth. Mainly because the sand is coming down, and many people, the stone dust is being used in many of the cases where earlier the sand was using. Now stone is taken from the stone mines in a significant quantity. What is the message? Message is that because it is operated at almost no roads are there, the roads are not maintained, and these are all taken by the private contractors and all that, these areas. So definitely nobody is interested to maintain these roads because it is not going to give them any benefit. That is their perception. And the articulation levels means when the vehicle is moving, the wheels will be articulated. So there is in technical terms, there is a cross articulation and straight articulation, especially when you talk about a tandem application. So the operations will be around 16 to 24 hours of operation. And nowadays, because it is a mix of these things, it may be around 30 to 35%, or some cases 50%. It is almost off-road, and remaining 50% will be it is going to some cities and deliver the stone dust and all that, where the road conditions are good. The expectation is the drivers want a better comfort over there. Nowadays, in the last we are studying for last 3 years closely to different applications. So the message coming out here is that the drivers are of shortage in many of the cases. So if driver comes with some complaint or some feedback that vehicle is not okay, there is some issue. So earlier the fleet owners or the fleet managers were not taking those things seriously. But nowadays drivers have a choice. So definitely their viewpoint is being considered. The next application is the coal application. So the coal application is diminishing in our opinion, and how the operation happens. Operation is that it is relatively good roads, and it operates at high speed because of the road condition is good, and there are potholes. Because of those potholes, whenever the vehicle is driving at higher speed, the people tend to apply brake. So when you apply the braking, when the braking event happens at higher speed, it is going to create a good amount of longitudinal force, in technical word. So it will have significant forces coming on the suspension or whether other aggregates. So these are some important parameters to be considered. And yes, in most of the cases we found that it is 24 hours of operation. In Korba mine and all that, they cover the track, almost 3,000 to 4,000 hours in 1 year. So then this is the sand mining. Sand mining, one important thing is that the transaction of the material takes place based on the volume. How much is this? So let us say if the material sand moves from, let us say, riverbed to the location where the sand is being sold, it is sold on the volume of that particular load body. So if your truck is having or tipper is having, lot of vibration, sand settles down. So the customers will say that, okay, you have not given us the volume which actually is there. Let us say because of the nature of the sand, it settles down. So, so this is something interesting. So that gets connected to the suspension also. So what are the key business drivers? So the key business drivers, if you can see, so load carrying capacity, the topmost driver. Second one is the initial cost, and the third one is the high uptime. This is based on study which we have done with in the market. Similarly, the cost drivers, you see what the first becomes the fuel cost, tire cost and maintenance cost. Tire is one of the important parameters in the field for the customers. Now, in terms of the suspension, because we are into suspension, we found that criticality of the suspension system is very critical. Almost 65% of the people have told that, and breakdown of the current suspension system it will impact the other parts also. So the message from this slide is, yes, suspension is one of the critical parameter, and everybody in the market needs a good suspension. So now this is some interesting slide in terms of how much is the cost they are spending in the suspension. These are one example. It varies significantly from application to application. Especially if you see in the fourth column, stone application, the significant amount of money is being spent in the stone application. So there is a detailed calculation how we have arrived at and all that. So the message what it is coming is application to application, and because of the duty condition, because of the operating condition, because of the way in which the vehicle is being driven, it all amounts to the failure rate, and also it comes to the cost, downtime cost. So break time cost, downtime cost, all those factors are there. So when the customer is making a decision for buying of a new tipper, he will definitely have all these things in his mind. One more interesting parameters, even though many of the end customers, they might not be having that much amount of qualification and knowledge, but they are extremely good in understanding in the total cost of ownership and all that. We may be talking in a very sophisticated language, but they know what parameters affect their business, because ultimately they are earning money from this particular business. So we need to be very clear what they want. Now, what are the characteristics, stakeholder characteristics? So the characteristics are what dealer's role, what is the fleet owner's role, what is the fleet manager's role. These are also important factors when you are developing or designing a new product. What is there, how he influences. I will not go through each of the line item, but the message what I wanted to give is that each stakeholder is very important when the transaction of a vehicle takes place to the end customer. So based on this is important slide. It is actually a Japanese technique. How many of you are exposed to TQM tools? Anybody knows TQM, Total Quality Management? So this is one of the parameter in that is called the customer value, proposition or mapping. They call it as. How it is done is that through the table here, it may not be very readable, but what it says is that we have characterized various parameters what customer wants in terms of attributes, in terms of performance parameters, what all things, and then you have to compare with what is there, what is there in the market, what is that you want to do, and then where you want to position, both in terms of the value index as well as price index. You need to match. It has to make sense. You might be giving the highest performance, but if it is offered at very high cost, nobody is interested to buy. So all those things has to be factored in when you are deriving the thing. So again, this is another tool, that is a QFT. So many of you, I think, are knowing about the QFT. So converting from the customer parameters to the design characteristics, based on that you will be able to understand what should be the. So now we have developed, we have come up with a solution that is rubber technology solution. Here this technology is having with rubber, there are no steel springs. Why rubber? Rubber is lighter than the steel. It is having no lubrication is required for this. So based on this, we have come up with a design which can replace the steel springs. Another interesting thing is it is a progressive in nature, because in any steel spring it is a linear characteristics. Over here it is a progressive type of spring because of the unique geometry of the springs. So how we have done, one of the message we wanted to give is the product has been derived for the Indian road conditions. So we have acquired the scientific data. So because designers or product engineers want a scientific data, what is the force, what is the displacement and all that. We collected the road, we instrumented the vehicle, we collected the road data, and then at different service conditions, and then we had a sophisticated data acquisition system. Based on that, we collected the data, and we could able to come up with a cycle for fatigue cycle. So further we did a detailed designing, and this is the ride comfort study which we have done. Then we have also done the field testing. We have done the testing for Indian road conditions at various places. We have done the field testing, and finally the product has been launched. This is one case where the one of our end customer who is using the Rajpath Infra, he is having a vehicle with 125 Ultimax vehicles. They have built 39.69 kilometers in one single day. So he has been awarded by our transport minister as well. So this is the conclusion. The tipper market is growing. Multi-axle tippers becoming popular. Different applications providing, then understanding customer behavior, using scientific data is important. Appropriate tools you have to use, and then validation for the Indian road conditions. So with this, I would like to conclude. Thank you so much. I don't know how much I exceeded. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, wonderful. And I know you're from Tata Group, but you are making components. You, Ashok Leyland, would have surprises. So all your trucks are Tata Motors. It's not fair. Then one or two slides of Ashok Leyland will surprise. Thank you. So next is my friend Nagaraj, and he's always a smiling face. I really inspired his minutes when he was on the small chart before coming here. Hope you will keep the comments on the content as well.
Thank you so much, Sathiyaseelan. It's really thankful for that. I think everybody is waiting for the break. Thank you so much for patiently listening to everyone. First of all, I thank CII for giving this opportunity. This is the topic, very interesting topic, and the session is something related to driver ecosystem, design, and CV experience. Everything revolves around it. And we come from the background of, normally for the CV industry, when we ask what is the backbone, We call it as a driver is a backbone for civil industry. And we give that comfort for his backbone from the suspension industry. So since 125 years, we are working with the suspension side of it, exclusively on the trailer side. So here, interesting topic which I would like to touch upon, that is changing trends in Indian trailer industry. I'll be talking all the slides are related to tractor trailer segment only. So this is a part of HCV segment and changing trends. This also has opportunity and challenges. So this is something trailer has always been considered as an unorganized sector. Since from the last 3 years, I have seen multiple trailer manufacturers also present here. Thanks for that. It also comes with opportunities and challenges. Since from the last couple of years, since the COVID, how the mindset have got changed, and people are experimenting a lot of new technologies. They wanted to experiment things which are available in the market to increase operating economies. So when I talk about this, there are ground level challenges. I'll keep you excited for the till the break, because I'm going to connect something on the ground level reality which is happening on the CV industry. These are the regulations which are directly impacting on the tractor trailer segment and the heavy commercial vehicle and haulage segment. So in 2017 onwards, BS4 and then trailer code which is implemented. We were in the panel since from the last 10 years to organize something that, because all the roadside fabricators were making these trailers. Believe me, tractor and the trailer, complete vehicle is a product for the end customer. And there are thousand people are working on the tractor side as an engineers. But at the end of the day, trailers, when you ask, it's all the roadside trailer manufacturer, one of the draftsmen or somebody sitting on the CAD model and he is working on something to the product. And both of them expect the final result to be as profitable as for the transporting. So trailer code, we got it in April 2017, and then 2018 independent trailer registration. This is something very unique, which it has been go ahead has been given in 2018, but till now most of the people does not know that. But we as a BPW bought something on the Indian road, which is normally globally is the benchmark for it. So normally in the industry, it's overall globally it is 2:3. Tractor trailer ratio is 2:3, and here in India it is 1:1, because everybody knows that it is a Tata or Leyland vehicle with a 35-tonner vehicle, 40-tonner vehicle. By default, it will get registered on the same model number. But henceforth, it won't happen that way. It is going to change something. That's the reason design is something which we have to think about, and this is the right time with the using of independent realization. There is also going to give a lot of advantages on the logistics side of it to reduce the logistic cost, which is very high in India. The target from 16 to 7 to 8% is very big target what government has taken, and these are all towards to achieve the targets. August. We got a safe axle load, which has completely changed the scenario of the CV industry. Axle loads changed the GCW, GVW, whatever you call it, and complete vehicle compression gone for a toss, and everybody was behind BS6 now, because 4 years is the time which need to be used for it. Everybody was behind the engine technology. In the first session also, we were very much focused on what energy exactly is going to drive the tractor. And nobody talked about the trailer also. That's something axle load. Axle load is going to decide your GCW all over the payload. This is the load which really pays back to all of us. Then again in 2020, BS6 tractors models have been released, and then June introduction of a road trail and new trailer dimensions. The government is doing their own efforts on there to bringing the new things to reduce the logistic cost and improve the efficiency all over. We have seen in the first session also. So there are upcoming new models are going to emerge for the road train concepts and the new dimensions for the tractor trailer. Again, the tractor which need to be configured rightly right now, because we already lost 3 years in that. So coming slides will explain about it, how to deal with it. Okay, so this is about safe axle load impact on the tractor trailers since from 2018. Why I'm saying, because 2018 onwards we got axle loads and the configuration got changed. Most of the people know that in a haulage segment it is 35 tonner, 40 tonner, 49 tonner. This is how we used to see the tractors, trailers on the road. So 35 tonner typically with 2 axle trailer, 40 tonner with 3 axle, and 49 tonner 3 axle. What happened after 2018? Some of them thinking about the COVID and all the logistics should not stop it in between and keep on working on the new models. And what the statistics says is 2020, 21, 22 and 23. in the same region, years, we have significantly seen the graph of 72%, 82% and 85% only on the maximum capacity, which is 55 ton GCW. So this is the figure which is hit the complete 4x2 tractor dominating complete maximum capacity of the GCW so far we have. So this is only the model which is like a hotcake selling in the market, and all about the how we are achieving this 55 ton. When you see in the middle one, that is 40 tonner vehicle, this is the basic, and when you see the right side 55 tonner, both the vehicle seems similar, exactly the same. What is got changed? The change was only on the suspension of the trailer, because in the axle load, it has been mentioned, each axle was 8 ton earlier. Now with the air suspension, it has been brought to 12 ton. So actually, it is not per axle 20%, it has been increased up to 40%. When you go with the air suspension, then the whole GCW changes. So this is how we are going to achieve with the 55 tonner. The air suspensions, obviously, as you know that mechanical to converting to air suspension will leads to 3 ton extra direct saving to the pocket of the transporter. And then lower maintenance as compared to the mechanical to air suspension, no vibrations, no maintenance, simple. And no cost, loss of a cargo, ensure the safe transportation. I am going to share some of the experience in the coming videos. Comfort, this is the main agenda, that how to bring the comfort. Sathiyaseelan was also telling about it. Like driver comfort, yes, suspension can only give the comfort and fatigue can be reduced. So how to make him work 8 to 12 hours or something, because we have a shortage of drivers, and how to increase their efficiency. That's the point. Comfort, operating safety. Safety is something definitely with the air suspension technologies, and today on Indian roads we can able to bring the EBS fitted trailers. So trailer is no more a fabrication part; it is all technical driven. And I think Zarif is here. So we have a shortage of EBS for trailers today. It's really a new scenario which we are going through it. So also it gives a lot of economical advantages, that with the air suspension we can also lift the 2 axles. Programmed driver don't have to do anything. I'm just running through the one video which shows about it.
BPW air suspension. In Triton axle, 2 axles can be lifted in FE vehicle condition. No additional operation is required by the driver. Both axles lifts automatically. This increases the tire life and benefit in overall operating cost.
So driver don't have to do anything, automatically it senses, because bellows works on the pressure, and pressure can sense the load. Accordingly, the programming happens in between on the trailer side. I should say trailers are much more becoming advanced than the tractors today, and we can able to measure the load. We are all dealing with the commercial vehicle, and all surround around the load. And if you ask today, everything we can track, trace, and everything with the tractor. But how do you find the load on the trailer, whether the vehicle is loaded or not loaded? How to identify? Nobody can say that, because we have the mechanical suspension. You cannot able to get the sensors out of it. As of now, we don't have it. But air suspension, we can tell that today all our Indian customers are enjoying that trailer, whether it is loaded or not loaded, how much load it has been put on the trailer. You can able to get it on the digital information. In coming videos, you will see that. So now it's all about driver. So CV session without the driver voice does not exist. So let's go with the one experience of the driver with the air suspension.
जैसे उसका ब्रेक है, इसको ब्रेक मारेगा तो झटका से पहले नीचे बैठती है, गुब्बारा पे बैठ जाता है नीचे, उसका झटका कम लगता है।
इससे आपके चसी पे भी झटके कम लगते हैं।
झटका कम लगता है और देखिए ट्रेलर में इंटेंस बढ़िया बन लगती सही है। कहते हैं इसको किसी भी खड्डा में काई तरीका से कर दो, कोई मेंटेनेंस नहीं आएगा। बस को अगर हमने किसी खड्डा में कुदा दिया तो पाटा टूटने का बेटा, वेल्डिंग टूटने का बेटा, इसको कैसे ना ऐसे करते ना ऐसे। अगर 50-60 की स्पीड पे जा रही है, इतने भी एक्रे तो उस पर भी कुदा दो, जब तुमको फर्क नहीं।
आपको चलाने के लिए कोई तकलीफ भी नहीं होती है ना?
कोई तकलीफ है नहीं, हम बताएंगे।
सही बात है, शुक्रिया। Sanjeev ji, this was my personal interview I took with the driver, which we were talking about last. So he was talking about no vibrations, no maintenance. So it's a comfort which gives him. And in another video, he clearly said that the tractor trailer runs like in a car. So that's what the experience he shared about. And Yeah, and the brakes are also very efficient because when you have a suspension, all the axles will be on the ground. So mechanical use springs stands have been designed on the load characteristics. When you have the complete load, it really behaves with reference to the load. When you have an unladen condition, normally the rattling happens on the unladen condition where the vibrations are much higher. So to optimize that, the air suspension is the right solution. What we have suggested. So these are the okay. It's not about only the opportunities what I talked about. There are challenges also, and yeah, in the morning also somebody said that need is the mother of innovations. When need converts into greed, then it becomes a problem. So here something which is very uncontrollable on the unknown sector. That is, it's a fabrication. The regulations are in place. We still need a body, somebody to drive it properly, so that we are not misguided in the future to give the right commercial vehicles on the line. So, if it's a lift axle, then obviously let's go 1 year suspension into mechanical, and a lot of permutation combinations have been worked, because it's very easy to retrofit it on the fabrication level. So we don't have any OEMs to drive for the program for completely the DVP plan for the next 2 years and then launch the product. So it's simple. In fact, it's a trailer fabrication. Do it with civil fabrications, and then you put the suspension. That's how we could able to give it very quickly the air suspension to the trailer segment. So this is how a lot of innovations comes, and you cannot control those unorganized innovations. You have to be with it. So unless until you have a right body to channelize it. So that's what we have to think about. And there is a serious problem. I'm not talking about only the trailer. It's also about the tractor, which all the OEs have to think about it. And in multiple forum I tried to bring this, because with these practices, normally when you see at the bottom of geometry, the two axles on the mechanical side, one axle is air fitted, that is lifted. And almost all vehicles which you see on the tractor trailer on the road, typically nearly 70 to 80% of the vehicles you see the same fashion. It means earlier 40-tonner vehicle configuration, today it's running with a 55 ton, it means 15 ton extra load, axles remain same. In this case you can see that only 3.5 axle is taking a load of complete 55 ton. What does this mean? Like 2 axles on the rear trailer, and 50% of the load is going to the tractor rear axle. So from the design perspective, it's very important, and all these today 55 vehicles are running with absolutely overload condition. We could not able to realize that over the period. We will realize that because I talked about multiple things, because it's after BS6 vehicles is very shortest time to understand how the vehicles are behaving. Most of the transporters are asking, give me AMCs. And trailers are also being driven with AMCs. We have signed a contract with certain customers for nearly 8 years of guarantee and warranty on the product. So that's how we are, because we believe on the product, and that's how it is being driven. So 50%, 5th wheels are going to come under tremendous pressure, and the driveline and all chassis of the tractor, we should be very serious how to deal with it, and already the signals have started coming, and this is where we have to work upon. Okay, this is the practical scenario. All these trailers are with 2 axles, running with 2 axles, because end of the day transporter wants to save the tire life. It's 1 axle lift means 4 tire saving, and he'll keep on doing that unless until properly regulated. And what will the outcome of this? So you can see some of the, I have seen many of the front axle of the trailer is actually the tires were removed out completely. Nobody's thinks about it. So now what is the consequences of this? Brand new infrastructure, where Mr. Gadkari is investing a lot of money on that, and the brand new road is with the patch covering. This is going to happen. This is just a start. Unless until we organize properly on the CV segment. And in this race, only it's not about the engine, which we talk about the energy and everything. It's about the complete. We are discussing on the ecosystem completely, and nobody should be left behind in this race. So it's trailer, tractor, body. Edscha is also presented on that part. Everything has to be considered to make our future better. And once we have the electric or hydrogen also, at the end of the day, load has to be built to the bodies and trailers. So that's how the scenario. And I requested in the CM also to make a separate body for trailers where we can able to, because we don't have only the drive line. Rest everything we have. Axle suspension, we can able to give the energy on the trailer also. That has been in the pipeline over the period you will see on the Indian roads. Okay, so multiple combinations, independent trailer registration. That is one more thing which is coming to the picture. we can register trailer independently, we can get the advantage. It's all about the applications oriented product, what we have to give it. So in the future, so get ready for this, and in the CV, so different, now it's not that the tractor will decide the fate of the trailer or the GCW. It is the trailer and the axles which will decide the fate of the GCW of the commercial vehicle. That's how it has to be. And how it has to happen on the ground level, no clarity, but over the period I hope government can able to tackle this. We have a registration issue on the RTO levels, but we have to deal with it. Okay, different combinations. Road trains, the draft is in place, and we are working on that. All the industry leaders are working together to frame the right safety technologies. And the road trains are going to come up. At the end of the day, logistic cost reduction is only possible with the multiple options. So this is how it's going to be. One, it's not only digitization of the tractor, it's a trailer also. We are coping up with a race on the segment which is going to be for the next decade. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nagaraj. I think we don't want to stand between your tea and networking. You are very great by. And thank you so much. As a conclusion note, I just want to add only one point. Because what I see here is young professionals and seniors. And we are exhibiting a lot of technological, sharing a lot of technological and design ideas. But I want to register one simple thing, to ask every one of us how inventive and how original we are to cater the needs of today's Indian, trucking conditions, particularly for commercial vehicles. And because in recent times, maybe a week behind, I saw one video of a girl of 21 or 22 years old who is a driver and operating a private bus from Coimbatore to Tirupur or whatever. I was so happy. And the inclusive mentality of the technical inventors like us is going to be much more challenges than ever. So our solutions in terms of design, ideas, whatever, it has to be robust, frugal, and extremely foolproof when it comes for design and experience. That is my only recommendation or food for thought today. And of course, thank you for your time and effort. And it was a wonderful session of, a handful of speakers which covered almost everything, like, the additive, which is the future, and the cushioning. These two suspension guys have a cushion of 2 minutes each.